Tell me about some things you love about coaching your sport and what sport you do coach.
I coach ice hockey. What I love about it the most is getting the most out of players and having them feel like a family. Once you have the right group, it's very fulfilling.
When did you start coaching?
I started coaching 15 years ago within a youth hockey organization, starting at the age of, the kids were the age of 5 to 6.
Okay. And when you started coaching throughout your coaching career, what was your philosophy that you used?
My philosophy, respecting the game, the players, the refs, anything that was involved with the game, and doing the best that you can, and just giving it your 100%. And if you were not dedicated and not on time to practices, to games, then you didn't play much. So it was really dedication, supporting one another, and enjoying what you're doing.
How did you balance like athlete development versus winning? Like, what did you value more?
That's a double-edged sword, because you want the best players, but it's very difficult. At the age I started, the key thing was development, because you really don't fully develop in any sport, in my opinion, until you actually hit puberty. So at the younger ages, it was really about development, understanding the game, understanding how to skate, what to do in certain situations, and having the right people surrounding you that could teach techniques, as far as starting jumping on the and just the techniques was key in developing in the younger ages. As they got older, in their teens, when you got to 16 and 17, it was different, where it was more about winning and having the best players to do that.
What was your biggest challenges during your job of coaching?
The biggest challenges, to be honest, were the parents of the players. They always thought that they knew more than the coach, or coaches, I should say, would always yell over the stands to say, my son shouldn't be doing that, or yell at their son on the ice when the kid's actually doing the correct thing, whether it's a forecheck or whatnot, or playing defense. He's doing what the coach is telling him, but when the parents get involved in that, they're teaching the kids the wrong thing, because they really know the game and what we're trying to accomplish.
And think about how you help your athletes get mentally prepared for an event. What specifically do you do to help an individual on a team get ready?
Get ready for an event?
Yeah, like a game.
Like a game? Well, it's not real. I can't do that for them. They have to do that. I give them all of the tools necessary to do that, meaning putting them in the right position, giving them the right training, whether it's the techniques of skating or the schemes of the game philosophy. If they can't form that, I can't help them. So it's difficult to answer that, because it's not up to the coach to give them the tools. It's really up to the player and what they put into it and what they take out of it. Just like any job. I mean, it's not about what your boss does. It's about what you as an individual does to succeed. That's meaning going to practice, being on time, as I mentioned before, and just being ready to play and supporting your teammates. In life, you have to support someone that you may not like, but that's life, and you have to do that.
What were some of your biggest accomplishments while coaching?
I could say that I, at the age of 12, which is the Pee Wee level, Pee Wee to squirt to Bantam to 18U, double A, that is. We made the playoffs every year. Unfortunately, we didn't win a championship in the youth hockey, but my biggest accomplishment was starting the Eastern Ice Hockey team, which is a local high school that where my kids grew up, and we started a club hockey team. I coached that for 9 years, and in the 9 years we won 4 high school trophies, along with 3 Flyers Cups, which is a tournament that the Philadelphia Flyers run. So I would say starting the program at Eastern and having those kids win so much was definitely a great accomplishment. And I felt good for the kids because we had a lot of kids show up for support as far as the high school kids. 400 or 500 people a game. So that would be my best accomplishment, is starting that program for the Eastern high school team. High school, that is.
How did you go about starting that program for the Eastern High School hockey team?
What we did is myself and then 2 other guys noticed that through our travel hockey experience that there were a number of hockey players within the district where Eastern is located, and we decided to start a hockey club for the high school. And just having been around hockey for so years and seeing the development and the enthusiasm of the kids that go to Eastern High School, we decided, hey, let's get involved in the high school league and let's start a team, and that's how it came about.
Okay. And now think of the competition in which your team performed poorly. Talk about how you prepared to speak with them afterwards and how you framed the failure in that moment and in subsequent practices afterwards.
I'm sorry, say one at a time there.
Now think of a competition in which your team performed poorly. Talk about how you prepared to speak with them afterwards and how you framed the failure in that moment.
When a team plays poorly, they're just not focused, and there's nothing a coach can do. What I would typically do is take a timeout during a game, call my players over, and talk to them about it. And that was difficult because sometimes kids at that certain ages, they're just not focused. So it's I would really just call a timeout, get them to kind of focus or refocus, I should say, and then hopefully it turns out better. What was the second part of that question?
Like how do you deal with that in upcoming practices afterwards of that game?
So basically in practices, what I typically do is I would skate them, to be honest with you. If they're not focused and they come to the game and not paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing on the ice, we would skate for a whole practice. Typically our practices are an hour long. The first half hour we do techniques as far as skating drills and so forth. The second half is usually skiing, whether it's a forecheck, breaking out of your own zone, running a power play. So instead of doing that during practice, I would pretty much skate them for a whole hour and just really drill into them that if they're not going to be focused, don't come to the games and don't come to practice. And that really refocused them and said, this is something that I have to really grasp and not play poorly when it comes game time.
Do you think skating your players or punishing them for playing poorly had a negative impact on any of them?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of personalities within the team, but no, I don't. And I say I skated the whole hour, but it really was, if everybody was focused and working hard during the first 15 minutes of skating them hard, maybe we'd do something easier than just skating the whole practice. But no, I did not. Life is hard. Wear a helmet because that life is not easy, and it's a life lesson. When you're not performing to your potential, there are consequences.
All right. Now, describe any stress you personally experienced before or during a competition in which your athletes are performing in.
As far as stress, I mean, when you're playing in front of 400 people, that's kind of stressful. But the most stress that I've encountered in coaching is really about the parents. As I stated earlier, it's just very difficult when there are parents out there that think their child is going to the NHL, think they know the game, and then they after the practice or the game they get in the car and they start talking about the coaches and how they don't know what they're doing. So that was very stressful to keep the team focused. And we were focused and won a lot because each player believed in one another. So I think the main stress was really dealing with outside influences to our players.
How did you deal with that stress and what strategies did you use?
My strategy really was to have the kids focused every time they came to the rink. and talking to the parents and telling them that if they want to talk about the coaches and what we're doing as an organization, they should talk between themselves and not have the child present, because it just brings a negative attitude to practice, to games, to the whole environment that we're trying to build. So my strategy really was focusing the team on the task and really communicating with the parents up front when the season started that if they want to talk about the coaches or what we're doing, they should do that by themselves, and also approach the coaches when the kids aren't around to solve any kind of issues they may have.
Throughout your coaching career, what were your core values as a coach?
Core values: 1, have fun; 2, respect; 3, work hard; 4, always have integrity for the game, the coaches, the refs, and anything involved with the game of ice hockey.
All right, that's it.
That was easy.